Hello, adventurers! I'm Nate, and I'm here with Dungeons and Dinners, live from my kitchen. Well, maybe not live, but directly from. So, what are we going to be making today? We're going to be making a turkey curry. It's going to be simple, it's going to be easy. Basically, anybody who knows how to work one of these can make this. So, how is it done? Well, first thing you're going to need is some bird meat. Now, as I'm recording this before Thanksgiving, I don't have any already cooked turkey. I do, though, have some chicken. You're going to want to chop up your turkey, or turkey substitute, into, shred it up into little bite-sized pieces. About yay big. Once you've got that done, toss it in a little Tupperware container. Set it on the side. By the way, that's Tupperware is in the generic term for a plastic storage container, not the brand name. Next thing you're going to want to do is either chop up 2 large fresh mushrooms, 2 large fresh Shitaki mushrooms, or open up a can of pre-chopped onions. And then you're going to want to chop up some onion so that you got about a 1/4 cup of onion. Roughly about enough to fit in your cupped hand, like so. Once you got that much, toss it in a bowl, set it off to the side. Next thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to come over here to your handy stove, where you're going to get yourself one of these. This is a large frying pan. You're going to need this. You will also need to get out of your cupboard something like this. This is a medium-sized bowl. You're going to want this. You're also going to want a microwave. If you don't have a microwave, forget the medium-sized bowl and get yourself a pot. You're going to want that pot because you're going to cook minute rice. That's right. We're going all out, and we're using minute rice. Why am I suggesting minute rice? Because I'm assuming those of you who are watching this video are watching it because you want to do something cool for your group, but you might not have a lot of elite cooking skills. So, I'm not talking down to those of you who know how to cook, but for those of you who don't, this stuff. Awesome, easy to make. 2 cups water, 2 cups rice, you're good. Now, if you want more rice, make more rice. I am, though, recommending this recipe makes 4 servings, so 4 servings of rice. So what you're going to do, you're going to come over here to your stove, you're going to turn it on to about a medium-high heat, then you're going to get yourself a little olive oil or butter. I won't judge you if you use butter. After all, I come from Wisconsin. Please, buy that Wisconsin butter. Let those California people know what they're missing. Then, you just wait for that to get hot. Now, remember the onions and mushrooms I had you set off to the side? You're going to take those once your oil is hot, which won't take long. And you're just going to shake that in there. Now, we're going to cook that until the onions become translucent. What does that mean? Well, that means that we'll be able to see through the onion. Once we can see through our onion, like it's a paper bag with a Philly cheesesteak in it, our onions are done, and we can move on to the next step. So, in the meantime, I will move you guys to right here so that you can see what's going on over here. So currently, we have that in there. We're going to prepare and get ready for the next step. Next step is going to involve one of these. This is a can of cream of mushroom soup. You're also going to need curry powder. Can't have curry without a curry powder. If you have those elite cooking skills, make your own curry powder. It's actually not too hard, just requires a lot of spices. So people will make it ahead of time so that they have it on hand. If you're one of those uber elite cooking people, you probably have some curry paste sitting around that you made in advance. Use that. But if you're like your average American cook and the rest of the world believes that your idea of cooking is to heat up a piece of meat, slap some cheese on it, and call it done, you're going to get the curry powder, just like me. Another ingredient you're going to need, 1 cup of sour cream. Now I know what some of you are thinking, Nate, that says reduced fat. Yes, it does. I had to give up some of the good stuff when I got diagnosed with a lovely little condition called diabetes, which is also why I'm only making 4 cups of rice. So, while your onions are going, you're going to give them a little stir occasionally. You know, make sure they're heating evenly. Make sure that none of them are getting cooked faster than any of the others. In the meantime, take your rice and you may be wondering why my rice is in this container. Well, it's because I took a hint from the Cooking Network and I pre-measured it. You know, just to save some time. Add your rice to the bowl like so. Get yourself 2 cups of water. Possibly from a sink that looks better than this. From a webcam that doesn't need 2 hands to hold. I like to use warmer water when I'm cooking my rice in the microwave. Saves time on the water heating up. My rice gets to cook better. Now we got our water added to the rice. It'll look about like that, which is good. And all we need to do is toss a lid on this puppy, which you will probably have up near your bowls. Lid on rice. And then over here to Chef Mike. And zap this sucker for, I believe it's about 6 minutes. But always, always check your box of instant rice. Microwaves 8 minutes. See, I would have had underdone rice. So, once you got your microwave going, your rice is pretty much handy. You don't have to worry about that. So we're going to come back over here to take a look at our onions, which, as you can see, are starting to turn transparent. It means they're cooking up pretty nicely. So we've got that going for us, definitely. In fact, even the mushrooms, you can see they're cooking up pretty nice in there. Now again, I use fresh mushrooms instead of the canned, just because I like fresh better. I'm sorry, I think fresh food tastes much better than canned. Plus, being diabetic, I need to watch my salts. So, you know, oftentimes I will substitute fresh for canned. Now, if you're not diabetic and you don't need to watch your salt or worry about high blood pressure, go ahead. Use the can. Not going to hurt your flavor. It's not going to hurt you, except in that you're getting a bit more salt. Which, again, if you're sensitive to heart issues, might be a bit of a problem. Now, once we have the onions going like this, they're pretty well done. We're going to take our can of cream of mushroom soup here. We're going to open her up. We're going to reduce the heat down to about a 5.5, 6. And then we're going to add our cream of mushroom. And all we have to do is just add our cream of mushroom soup. Which will form kind of the basis of the gravy to our curry. Now, cream of mushroom soup in its condensed form is fairly thick. So, this is another handy little kitchen tool you're probably going to want. Most men I know don't even know these things exist or their true purpose. Their true purpose is scraping stuff out of cans and jars. That's right. Dungeons and Dinners. We demystify the kitchen. Because every great adventurer deserves a great meal. Okay, so we've got our cream of mushroom in. We also need to add 1/4 of a cup of milk and 1 cup of sour cream. So we just come over here, grab our handy measuring cup that we used for the water. Why? Because the water won't hurt the milk. Come in here, grab our milk. 1% works great. You don't get the totally creaminess of the 2%, but you don't get white blue water like you would with your skim milk. I unfortunately poured just a little too much milk, but that's okay, because I like this stuff. So, 1/4 cup of milk, don't add any more than that. If you pour too much, that's what your tummy's for. Now, we add our cup of sour cream. We use the sour cream because it's thicker than the milk, We do want this to be somewhat runny, but we don't want it to be too runny. We want it to have some body so that it clings to the chicken, to the mushrooms, to the pretty much everything that's in it. And once you got that, take your spatula and just start mixing. What you'll have in your pan should look about something like this when you start. And when you finish, you'll have a nice kind of smooth texture to it. Which you can already see kind of happening here. It's already starting to smooth out and become nice and gentle looking, albeit a little gray. Now we can't help that, it's cream of mushroom soup. So I need two hands to really do this justice.
I might actually have, when I still in there, I'll probably have somebody up here helping with the shooting. That way they can be watching that while I'm taking care of the cooking. Alright. So, your end product
Should look like this. It's smooth and less gray, more white colored. So that looks a lot more appetizing, I bet. Now, you may be wondering, hey Nate, how can I fit a curry into a D&D game meeting? Because, you know, you'd want something kind of themed toward the adventure you're playing. Our rice is done, so we're just going to open that up, shut up the microwave. The rice has to soak up what remaining water there is left. So, how do you fit curry into your D&D? Elven food. That easy. The elves are an exotic culture. They're a chaotic culture. They have many likes, they're very mercurial, very temperamental. Spicy food fits them to a T. So, next, we are going to add our turkey meat, or in this case, turkey meat substitute, chicken, to the mix. And we're going to stir that on in so that it gets nice and coated by this gravy we've basically made. Now, the original recipe does not call for this ingredient. I'm going to tell you to add it anyway, especially if you end up, like me, and using chicken instead of turkey, because turkey has that more robust flavor to it. But even if you are using, your leftover Thanksgiving turkey, ground sage. Going to want to add about 2 teaspoons of this. An inch of ground sage if you're doing it by the old granny method. That'll give you a nice aromatic too. Next you're going to add your curry powder. And then you will be done. Then you just got to let this simmer. And for those of you who don't know what a simmer is a kind of what you get after when you turn down a boil and you just let things go, or when you got a really good campaign idea and you let it bounce around in your head and kind of build up magnitude. That's what a simmer is. You're letting the flavors warm and meet each other and kind of build off one another. And when you do that, you get an excellent chance for everything to just really come together. So once you got your spices in there, mix them up. Then make sure that you've got that nice simmer going. Then you're going to let this cook for a bit. It'll take you approximately 20 minutes on a low simmer. Cover it over so that you're not getting things too dirty and too much heat isn't escaping. And then you'll have a delicious turkey curry for everyone. And I will actually come back to you. This is what my curry looks like currently. Yours might look different depending on your curry powder. I actually used a home blend. And there are several recipes out there for home blend for those who are inclined, or quick trip down to your local grocery store, Walmart, other such place, and you'll have your curry powder in 2 shakes. So. Are going to be showing now dishing up the curry. Here's my final curry, still on the heat, but just bubbling away, kind of simmering. So, 2 ways to serve this. The first is in a bowl. You're going to take 1 cup of rice, like so, drink cup. Then I'm going to come over here to the rice. Which I will now uncover from the microwave. See that steam coming off of it? That's how we know it's still hot. You take a cup of rice, like so. Kind of pack it in there. Plop it in the bowl. Mash it down a little. And we come over here to our curry. Take a spoon. And we take about 1/4 of this mixture and we plop it on top there. Just like that. And that's one way you can serve your curry. I'm going to set this over here. The other way is with the plate. Take your plate. We come back over here to the rice. Get ourselves another cup of rice. And we put this down on half of the plate. Spread that out. And we come back over here to the curry. Again, we take about 1/2 of the mixture, or about 1/4 of the mixture. And we put it on the other half of the plate. Now this is your more traditional Chinese, Japanese style way of serving. Creates more of a sort of exotic feel to have the 2 separated. And if anyone is in your group, they'll recognize this style for serving curry. So, that said, we have our curry dished up in both styles. If somebody wants, they can take a fork, get both of the curry and the rice, take their spoon, do the same. Curry is typically a spoon-eaten dish. So that's why we tried to keep our chicken pieces and our vegetable pieces smaller. So with that said, This is our turkey curry, which you can call Elven turkey curry if you're in a D&D game. If you're playing Exalted or Shard, just call it turkey curry. Because both those games have more of an Asian feel, having a curry dish doesn't really need to be lampshaded as much. But I'm Nate. This has been Dungeons and Dinners. Remember, every great adventurer deserves a great meal.